I think the biggest impact of the Indian Gaming Regulatory Act for the larger Indian country is really a move from relying on or feeling that they have to rely on the federal government for many of their rights, many of their technical assistance, even funding, and really shoring up tribal self-reliance. When I say self-reliance, or when I hear tribes say self-reliance, they're really talking about the ability, having the funds, having the luxury of exercising the rights that they've had all along, but they needed money to do.
Well, gosh, what is the biggest impact? There are so many. I would say that the biggest impact is the ability to be part of the greater, society in terms of having political influence and having the extra money that gaming has brought to the tribes to diversify their economies, to bring more people home. It's put tribes out in front of so many issues now that we weren't before. So the biggest impact, I think, in gaming is just sort of lifting everybody up.
I think the biggest impact of the Indian Gaming Regulatory Act for tribes and our citizens has been the restoration of tribal sovereignty. If you think about it, our local municipality, county, state governments fund their governments, their police forces, their fire stations, their schools through taxation. Most of our tribes, in many instances, are not allowed to tax because of the current federal framework in place, whether it's cases that have come down from the Supreme Court or decisions of Congress or legislation. And so our tribal governments are required to function without the power of taxation in most instances. And because of IGRA and the gaming infrastructure it allows for, and of course, tribes have the inherent right to game, but this infrastructure has allowed for a $32.4 billion industry that funds our courts, our police forces, and many other forms of tribal government and public service today.
That's a theme that many of the tribes themselves have embraced, is using their gaming revenues to do what they've always wanted and needed to do to exercise their tribal sovereignty. So, for example, creating their own tribal government in a way that actually is a cultural match for how they want to organize themselves, rather than simply relying on a federal template that maybe was imposed on them in the past, and kind of throwing that off, casting that off to create their own culturally appropriate tribal government, creating a gaming commission, creating economic development, cultural programs that really come from them